For this week, you are going to read chapter 21, which is about absolute power and the aristocratic style, which is in the file attached to the readings page. It's not in our textbook. It's actually from the Humanistic Tradition, Book 3. And you weren't required to buy that book for the class, but knowing some things from that book will help you as we move through this semester. So, the other thing you need to know is a little bit of background about what you're reading in chapter 21. Now, chapter 21, which is that PDF file, assumes you already know something about the Baroque style and art and that you read chapter 20, but assigning chapter 20 just doesn't seem really realistic because it goes further back than we need to go for this class. So, consider the following information on the Baroque style as you read chapter 21 in the PDF and you complete the assignments. So, the Baroque style runs from about 1600 to 1750. It is a more emotional art form than its predecessors. All you really need to know is that there's a lot of emotion going on. Baroque style art features a great sense of reality in its depictions, which is often referred to as naturalism. Now, we'll get into something else called naturalism later in the semester. Now, that said, Baroque art also depicts a lot of details, a lot of strong contrasts in colors, especially the light versus dark, and compositions that are not completely symmetrical, meaning Baroque painting often lacks a sense of balance on the canvas. Now, the picture that you're looking at right now is people actually looking at a picture of Caravaggio's Judith beheading Holofernes. Now, this is a very famous Baroque painting. Caravaggio, very famous for his work with the Baroque style. And something you'll notice about it is how light the people are, especially Judith. She's the one holding the knife there in the black. And then also how dark the background is. So you see that contrast. And, this is kind of a really interesting story behind this one if you want to look that up. Um, but you see the lack of symmetry. There's more on the right side than the left side of the painting, and you see that contrast between light and dark. Now, the Baroque style originated in Italy, Caravaggio being Italian, and the Baroque masters initially wanted to improve on previous versions of art by making the viewer feel like they were part of this scene they were looking at, this very emotional scene. Nature was shown as it was and really without embellishment as well. Now, Caravaggio, being the premier of the Italian Baroque artists, he painted a lot of religious scenes. This is the crucifixion of St. Peter. And you can see that this is an interesting moment because it's actually believed to be the moment at which Jesus was recognized as Christ. Notice again the lack of balance, the light and the dark. If you look at this painting and you actually start with the guy in the red on the upper left side and kind of work your way around in a circle clockwise, you really get a sense of what's going on in this painting. We'll talk about that style of kind of viewing a work of art from, a clockwise or a counterclockwise idea later in the semester when we get to Boucher and some of the other artists of the different periods. Now, another painting that Caravaggio created that also has some of these techniques of the Baroque style is this one, The Supper at Emmaus. Now, this one is basically using a technique called foreshortening. It's a painting device that uses objects, sometimes at an angle. If you look at the guy's arm on the right, that'll do it for you as well, to make you think rather that they're projecting off the canvas. And the idea is to kind of draw you into the scene, like you're right next to his left hand there. Um, so you have this opportunity with the Baroque style to kind of become part of the painting. Now, the Baroque style also carried over into sculpture and architecture and even music, all while maintaining that sense of natural representation. And we will listen to some Baroque music later in the semester, actually, when we start to compare it to the classical style.